Welcome Theatre Addicts, my name is Fern and I'm back here at the Carousel Theatre an hour early for my next show, and I'm going to be reviewing Hullaboo and the End of Everything by Andrew Wade for the 2018 Vancouver Fringe Festival. This show appealed to me because it's described as warm and fuzzy and a tearjerker, and I am a sucker for those kinds of shows. It's the story of an imaginary friend that refuses to be forgotten. And my first thought, as I'm sure others, is of the movie Inside Out and the character Bing Bong. That character was definitely a tearjerker of a character or a moment. So I'm excited for this one to see if I can feel some emotions and laugh and cry and all those things. The show is written by Andrew Wade and is performed by him and Katie Purich. Andrew is actually from Vancouver himself. So I'm excited to go and see the show. I have a little bit longer to wait, but I'll see you after the show. My first thoughts are that it was wonderful. It was very endearing. Definitely some moments there when I felt the tears pulling at me. This is definitely one to add to your list of fringe shows. According to the pamphlet that we got in the beginning of the show, the actress that plays the character of Michaela, of the little girl, is Katie Purich, the one that I couldn't say before the show, I'm really sorry. But apparently she was a new addition to the show just before it was going to another fringe festival. So I'm sure she's probably played the character quite often by now, but I just thought she was incredibly charming. I loved her character of Michaela. She had so much energy, and honestly she was just captivating. Obviously Andrew played the main part, Hullaboo, very well. He was very sweet, and I think he was actually perfect for that character. Again, according to the pamphlet, this was a show a decade in the making, and you can see why. I think he really identifies a lot with that character, so it's wonderful to see. But Katie was definitely a really good choice for the show. And speaking of her character, the little girl Michaela, I really loved that she wasn't this, they didn't use cliches of her playing with dolls and Barbies and things like that. She was such a strong character. She was the one that was leading all the adventures, and she was the heroine who didn't need rescuing. And I love that aspect of the show. I really think that's a very strong feminine message. One of the themes that they explored was something that he'd mentioned in the write-up. It's the choice of letting go or holding on to something. And that was it was very well explored in the show, how it wasn't just an easy choice of going, I want to do it or I want to let go, but it was the factors around Michaela, the character, that infected, as they sort of mentioned in the show, her choices. Even when she started to give in, suddenly you hear the voices of her friends taunting her, and she suddenly gets that fear of being ridiculed and being bullied, which is another very prevalent issue in schools and with young kids. What I really loved was the exploration of imagination, and it made me think back to this park that I was at recently by the library, where I saw these little kids making friends with each other for the first time easily, and they were running up and down this field just imagining there was lava, imagining there was a volcano. And I just thought that no matter how much as adults we want to try and capture that childhood, if I joined them and I played those games, if I played those old childhood games like hide and go seek, it just wouldn't be the same. I'd be playing the games, but without that same completely giving in to my imagination, where you literally can see everything like that. And they really explored that well in the show, that exploration of losing your imagination. Which actually, the one thing that I thought that they used a little bit too much of was Harry Potter references. In the beginning it was quite clever and quite funny and it fitted in, but then they have this one battle and she's just using all the spells from Harry Potter, which is, it was fine, but I thought that maybe it showed that she was losing her own imagination and she was just emulating what she sees in the real world, which actually might have been the point of that, how the real world starts to leak in and how reality starts to leak in. So that wasn't really a problem, it was just an observation. There were two parts that really made me feel the most. The one was when he's starting to go over a bit to the dark side. That scene, I had goosebumps. It was wonderful. And the other part, which I think for me was the most tearjerkery part, was when she's still talking to her friend Hullaboo, and you hear the voices of her parents telling her to stop talking to him, to come and join them at the dinner table and leave him alone. That part was really where I felt it was heartbreaking. You start to see that loss of childhood. You start to see the difference between adults' perspective of the world and the kids' perspective of the world. So that was definitely the most heartbreaking part. Wonderfully portrayed, wonderfully acted, those parts, the whole show. I'd say the one part that was a little bit jarring to me was right at the end, kind of the conclusion. There was a song that was playing over it, and I just felt like it didn't suit the moment. It sort of does. I kind of see why they chose it, I really do. It's like he's going, to this world, and it's indicative of that world. But at the same time, I was really in that moment, and it sort of ripped me out of it a little bit. It's getting a bit noisy out here. But that was probably my only gripe with the show the whole way, and it was barely a gripe because I think I saw where they were going with that song. It was a bit jarring at the time. So overall, this show is just a must-see. Ultimately, I actually think it's perfect choice for kids, showing them how important it is to keep holding on to their imagination. Don't let adulthood take them too quickly. But not just kids. I think it was such an important message for adults as well. So everyone should see the show. It's really a wonderful addition to the Fringe this year. The venue itself at the Carousel Theatre is a little bit small, and the seats are incredibly uncomfortable. After an hour sitting there, you feel yourself moving around to try and find a comfortable position. But it did add a lot to the intimacy of the show. Previously I'd seen another show there, and I thought all I could think about was how hot I was. But this time I felt that it really involved us with the show. The performers did run amongst us every now and then, the tiny amount of audience interaction. So that was my review of Hullaboo and the End of Everything by Andrew Wade at the Carousel Theatre here. It is a wonderful show. It's definitely for everyone. It hits you right in the feels, so go and see it. And otherwise, check out the Theatre Addicts website for more reviews so you know what to watch at the Fringe. And leave comments down below if you've seen this show as well, if you have anything to say, or if you think that I've missed out on any themes that were explored. And yeah, and happy fringing!